Welcome back to Old School Arctic Cats. I'm Rocky. We have got an adventure today. Got the truck in four-wheel drive. It's snowing. We're on our way to go pick up a snowmobile that really triggers a memory from my childhood. It is a 96 ZR 580 EFI. You don't see very many of those around in the western states. When you do, they're usually pretty beat up. This one seems like it's in decent condition, and it kind of piqued my interest. We got kind of a drive ahead of us. So as we're driving along, I know you guys have watched a lot of my videos on us going and picking up that Ski-Doo Formula 3 and that XLT 600 triple. Both those videos are doing quite well. We have almost 50,000 views on that Ski-Doo video, but some of the comments that we keep getting is, how did we pick that snowmobile up for only $200? A lot of people are like, where I'm from, that snowmobile's worth $2,500 in that condition, or why is that sled, that track's worth $200 alone, and different things. Well, one thing to understand is in these western states, the triple was like the first to die because of where we're at. The reason for that is because we don't mainly trail ride or race across lakes here. That's not a thing. I mean, if we're going on a lake, we're going ice fishing. If we're going on a trail, it's to go hit the powdery hill, and they serve their purpose, and it's kind of just gone by the wayside because they're too heavy, and a bigger, lighter twin is more practical, and it will do the job a little better. Therefore, because these triples are still around, and if they're in decent shape, they don't hold any value, because people that they go riding with has these bigger twins, and they'll just get stuck or can't keep up. So that's why some of these sleds are so cheap around here. It's not because we don't love them. It's not because they're garbage. It's because they're not that practical anymore, which is good news for a guy like me that absolutely loves and cherishes these old sleds, and then I can pick them up affordable and share my love and passion with you guys. So that's a lot of fun for me. This ZR that we're picking up, even though it's a twin and it's got a little bit better, lighter, whatever going for it, it's still a trail sled. It still falls under that same not practical category for these mountains. I mean, this sled would be awesome for cruising around in the fields or cruising like a nice trail ride. That's perfect for me and how I ride and what I like. But for people that are trying to get a mountain sled, it's just not that practical. Therefore, it drives the price really low. But again, it's kind of a treasure and a score for me, because I cherish these sleds, and I know what they were meant to do, and I like to highlight that, and I like to ride in that fashion. So that's one of the things I wanted to hit on, is because we get a lot of comments on how come we're getting these sleds so cheap, and that's really why. So another cool feature about this snowmobile, or unique feature about this snowmobile we're picking up, it's not the lime green ZR. They had two options. They could get the green or the black, and this one just happened to be the black model. And for one reason or another, I'm not sure if the green were just specially made for the race circuit or a limited build. I'm not sure on that, but this one happened to be black. And that's kind of what triggers that memory for me when I was a kid. We would go snowmobiling in West Yellowstone every year. My dad has been doing that since the early 80s. And he would always rent a brand new snowmobile. Whatever snowmobile Arctic Cat had, he would rent it. He's rented 90 Prowlers. He's rented EXTs. He's rented all sorts of sleds. Well, this one in particular, in 1996, we rented a 96 ZR 580 EFI that was black, short track and everything, just like the one we're going to go pick up. There was a lot of snow that year, and we could go ride around the airport in West Yellowstone. A lot of people did it. It was kind of flat, and there was a big open field and everything else that people would kind of race each other and kind of make this big loop and have a lot of fun. Well, me, in 1996, I was only 8 years old. and I had my little helmet on, and I didn't strap it. You know how you have to kind of put it through that little buckle and everything. I didn't understand how to do that, and I didn't quite get it cinched right. Well, I'm on the back, I'm holding on to my dad, and he kind of guns it, and my helmet fell off. So as we're going, I like look back for my helmet. I'm like, oh man, and my dad. And he slows down for a minute, and I let go, and he hit it again, and I flipped off the back of the snowmobile. We're talking feet in the air. I did like a backward somersault off of that snowmobile. My dad says he remembers my feet coming up by his head, and he couldn't grab me, and luckily we weren't going that fast, but I rolled off the back of the snowmobile. I remember getting up all staggered and couldn't believe what happened. I might even been crying, but my dad circled around, he picked me up, we went and grabbed my helmet, but that was on a snowmobile that looked identical to the one that we're about to buy. And that's so fun for me to share that with you guys, and to have that memory and to be able to actually own one. Truth be told, this is the first time I have seen a snowmobile like that since I was a kid in 1996. This sled's not in perfect shape, like I said. It's the EFI, so it has the battery. They didn't come out with the batteryless EFI until 97. So it's got that cumbersome battery that we have to deal with. They told me that they were trying to start it throughout the summer, and it would start and then die. They think it's the fuel pump that went out on the snowmobile. My theory is it has a dead battery, and I hope it's as simple as that. But I hope I can get this sled going, and this will be the first time I've ridden or seen a snowmobile like this since I was a kid back in the day in West Yellowstone. So I'm excited to have that feeling and to drive it and bring up those memories even more. So where we're at right now is we're going through a canyon called Sardine Canyon, and we're dropping down into Brigham City. And this is just north of our destination. We're actually heading to a place called Syracuse, Utah. Anyway, it's from right where we're at, it's about another 45 minutes or so with these slick roads. We got mountains everywhere around us here in Utah. We have the whole Wasatch Front. We get a lot of snow here. It's a pretty remarkable place. We have a lot of opportunities to go snowmobiling because of all the snow. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, these little sleds and different things that we're picking up, they're kind of like a diamond in the rough sometimes, you know. They're just, somebody had one, they loved it, they cherished it, it got passed down to the next generation, and they just don't know what to do with it, because not everybody has a field to go ride in. Not everybody has real great access to a trailhead from their house. And if you're going to spend the time and money, and you probably ought to be on a snowmobile that's going to be practical. So out here in the West also it's not that practical to just go snowmobiling right from your house and jump on a trail and then head up to the mountains. It doesn't really work like that. It used to, but not anymore. There's too many houses and different things that you'd have to navigate around. So you got to have a truck, you got to have a trailer, and you got to go up a canyon and go to a big parking lot, find a place to park, offload, and then you get on the trailhead, and then it leads you up to your destination. But back east, from what I gather, is you guys can just go snowmobiling pretty much from your houses or a common spot, get on a trailhead, you guys just go for miles and miles, which I think is awesome, and I really want to experience that one day. But it's just a little different type of riding here. We got to do things just a little different. If any of you guys have a place for me to go out and ride back east, it would actually be really fun to organize a vintage ride, not only out here in the West, but also a destination out in the East. So if that interests anybody, or if you guys could kind of fill me in on a spot, I'd be really interested to make a trip, bring out some of my old sleds out east and get experience snowmobiling where you guys are from. So hit us up on our email and let me know if that's something that can feasibly happen or not, because I wouldn't be opposed to doing it. Our snow patterns out here in the West are pretty unique as well. if we get 2 inches of snow in our valley floor, that usually means we get a foot or more up high. So if we get a little bit down low, we know that our mountains are getting replenished with a good amount of snow. I'm pulling into Maverick real quick, you guys. I'm kind of feeling under the weather. I'm kind of sick, and I got a kind of crackly voice. I got to get myself a drink. So looks like we're not the only ones traveling in this weather. Looks like someone's either moving out or moving in. They got their sled on their sled deck and their U-Haul trailer. That's awesome. I'm gonna wander over here to the drink section. Let's see what we got. I think I might go with the classic water bottle for right now. And then I grab one of my favorites, you guys. I love the watermelon flavored Red Bull. These things are awesome. Now we should be good to go. Oh my gosh, dude. Minivan off the road, and it looked like it slid a mile down by this little drainage. Must have been really slick a couple hours ago. Hopefully we'll keep this big old 6.0 Power Stroke on the road. Speaking of that, what do you guys drive? I would be curious to know what you guys are hauling your sleds around with. I keep it old school, man. I got this old 6.0 Power Stroke. It's got about 7 billion miles on it. I love it. So another unique thing about Utah that you guys are all aware of, hear rumors, and it's kind of true. We don't drink a lot of alcohol. It's not really part of our culture. It's starting to become more common as people that aren't from Utah moving in. Yeah, I grew up in Utah my whole life, northern Utah. Went to high school there. Just never got into the drinking crowd because there wasn't a very big one. So it was kind of easy to avoid. I sure got hooked on these Red Bulls. These Red Bulls are sure good. They used to not, and I don't know anymore, but they used to not sell alcohol at all on Sundays. I don't know if that's the case now or not, but anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing about Utah. You guys probably hear, and it's a little true. And I am a Mormon. I'm part of the LDS Church's faith. I got baptized when I was 8 and everything else, so I am LDS. And I love it. So you can know me as the Mormon out in Utah riding Arctic cats. That's pretty much nails it. So as we're getting close to our destination, we always like to give the person a heads up that we're doing a YouTube channel, so they're not blindsided, and we want to be respectful and not film anything that they don't want. These ads and stuff that we see on our KSL classifieds, you never know where it's going to send us. And I've picked up sleds all over Utah, Idaho. I've traveled into Wyoming to pick up snowmobiles. I mean, it's kind of a thing. If there's that specific sled that I like, that I find very interesting, I'll travel a little bit to go get it. So I just never know what I'm going to get myself into. But this individual asked us not to film much around their house and things, so we'll catch what we can, but we'll have to be respectful, and hopefully we can kind of keep you guys in the loop on what's going on with the transaction and things. We'll do our best, but it's going to be a little limited. So anyway, we'll make it work. We made it back. Those guys were super awesome. They were really easy to work with. The guy's brother was actually the original owner of this snowmobile. We had the original title. It came from way up north in Idaho, up by Rexburg. I think they got it because the nephew wanted it, and he purchased it from the uncle. That's how they ended up with it. They never titled it or anything. They said they just drove it around fields and whatever. But I want to get this sled running. Where they thought it was the computer. So they ended up buying a computer for it, swapped it out. That didn't change anything. They said it ran with the other computer as well, for whatever that means. They're thinking it's fuel pump. I think it's a weak battery, so I'm going to start easy. I do have a fuel pump for this machine that I think will work. I hope will integrate into what I need, but we're going to pull this battery out, and we're going to go buy a new battery, just because with these sleds, the batteries sit all summer long and they just kind of go bad. Most coolest thing about this trailer now is that we got the old custom license plate finally came in, so everyone can recognize me. All right, so we took out the battery, took it over to AutoZone. They tested the battery. They said it was a good battery, but it had low charge. It was only like 20%, 26% charge or whatever. So we just bought a brand new battery. We just put it on. It's kind of noisy where I'm at. I think I can hear the fuel pump priming. You can actually hear it when they do it. I'm just going to pull on the rope and see what happens. just drug this thing into my garage so we a little better lighting and next to my tools. I'm gonna dig into a little bit with that fuel pump. I don't think it's priming. I couldn't quite hear it outside next to the busy road. I can't hear it in here. I hear a click, but I think it's coming from the computer. But that has a very distinctive buzz when that fuel pump is going. It's very distinctive, you know when it's doing it, and I'm not hearing it. I do have another pump. I'm gonna dig into this a little bit. I'm gonna have to take off this plastic shroud right here. The fuel pump is mounted right on top of the gas tank. There's gonna be a few bolts there. Pull out the whole pump apparatus. Then I can do a series of tests with that. I can pull the fuel line off of it, see if I can, sometimes these pumps just stick. Sometimes they get a little condensation in there and the little motor will just kind of seize up. I'll see if I can doctor this a little bit and get it running so we can go ride it for a second.
2 hours later.
So it's been about 2 hours since I saw you guys last. So what we had to do is I pulled this shroud off from around the handlebars. It had the thumb warmer, hand warmer, the key, all of that all wired underneath it. I unplugged all that stuff, got it out of the way. Then I noticed that I could get the bolts undone off of the fuel pump. You could see the rectangle square piece in there. Got the bolts out. But that piece is about 8 inches long. It's down in your tank quite a ways. It wouldn't clear from underneath the handlebars. So I ended up unbolting the seat, sliding the seat back, then the fuel pump was able to come out. There was 2 smart valves on the bottom. They're like fuel filters, if you will. And they could be called something else. I've always called them smart valves. They could be something else. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I pulled that out. Once I got that out, I went and tested the fuel pump. You can hook those fuel pumps up to a battery and it will spin it. When I took the whole apparatus and I took it over to test it, that fuel pump wasn't spinning. So I'm like, crap. So anyway, I started undoing some of the housing. You kind of pry these little tabs away and the fuel pump will come out of the housing. And it took some tapping and some different things to get that out. Once that was in my hand, I went and tested it again and it started spinning. And I'm like, wow, and it was spinning free and nice. I felt that it was good enough that we could test it and put it back in the sled. I put it back into the fuel tank. I could turn on the key and I turned on the kill switch and I could hear that unique humming noise of the fuel pump. That's very critical. I could hear it humming and it started, and I emptied out all the gas as well. I saw that the gas would look kind of old in there, so I siphoned all that out. Put fresh gas in, turned on the pump. I heard it cycle. It cycled, pressurized, and it turns off. As soon as it did that, I knew we were going to win. Put everything back together. Now, moment of truth, is this thing going to start or not? I'm going to pull it like a man. Wow, this thing is one smoky beast. They must add some oil or residue or something in the crankcase. Probably from them trying to start it. Oh yeah. Yes, this is incredible. Oh my gosh. Can you guys see how much that thing's smoking? Oh my heck. Looks like my house is on. Looks like my house is on fire. I can tell it really needs a bell. I saw that when it was when I was putting it all back together, but what a win, you guys. I was nervous. I'm glad we got it going. had a Dayco belt. I think the 010 and the 012, this takes an 012. I think it's the softer compound to the 010, I believe. I could be wrong, correct me on that one too. I just put an 010 on here because this Dayco belt looks really glazed over and overly used. But hopefully this 010 will just be the trick just to get me across that field. Also, when I was digging into this, I mean, I found that the spark plugs were loose. I've talked about those brand new spark plugs have a compression washer on there. You actually have to crank those down and seat those compression washers. If you just go to where it's snug, it's not tight enough. Brand new plugs need to be torqued down. So anyway, it looks like they just made them snug but didn't torque them all the way down. They were literally finger tight. We could undo them with our fingers. So tighten that up. Different belt. Let's go see if this thing will run across that field. Whoa, you guys. First thing I noticed, we don't have a speedometer that's working. So that means that main drive bearing or a speedometer cable or something is bad. This is not clutch the best, or that belt I just threw on there was the wrong belt, which is fine. We can address all that. As far as running, the motor seems super sound, super responsive. Seems like that fuel pump seems to be doing just fine. This sled, I don't know what, you never really know what people tell you if it's true or not. I don't know when the last time this sled was really ran. Who knows? It seems like it's starting to burn a lot of oil, starting to burn a lot of just junk out of the crankcase, some residual bad gas, all that stuff is starting to work its way out. It's revving to about 8,500 RPM. I'm not sure if that's the appropriate RPM for this sled or not. Doesn't seem like it has any bottom end. It seems like it's all top end. This belt could, like I said, you guys, this 010 could be the harder compound belt as the 012. I'm going to look into that. I'm not sure how healthy that primary clutch is on there. I'm not sure about a lot of things, but the bottom line is, guys, we got a 96 ZR 580. I haven't ridden one of these since I was 8 years old. That was super awesome. I cannot wait. We need a little bit more snow out in this field, but it's coming. And when it comes, I think we're going to have a ton of fun. A lot of comparisons with this. I got some friends with some XLTs and different things. I would love to have this thing battle it out with some of those other snowmobiles. Just to remind you guys, we are in the next couple weeks, we're trying to get a website set up that we're going to start selling some old school Arctic Cat merch. It's going to be our own spin on it. It's going to look vintage, it's going to look original, but it's our little take on it. I can't wait until it gets released. We're working on it right now. There's also going to be some other products on there that I think you guys are really going to like and appreciate, so look out for those. We'll catch you guys on the next one.